You know, think about combining modalities here. We can do some PNF stretches. So I'm here and I say, all right, I've worked for 10 minutes, loosen that up nice and good. I can say, all right, so I want you to just lightly, with about 25% of your strength, push into my shoulder. Activate those gastrocs for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. And then drive that shoulder a little bit and hold out for 10. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, push into me again. A little less. You don't need to push that hard for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. And then go up a little higher and do a little bit more dorsiflexion. You can see that just softening. How's that feel? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you can repeat that, you know, another time or two if you want to. I just felt that loosen up a little bit. Okay. And then you just worked on that pretty good. You might just give it a little bit. So working on the foot in this position here, okay? So think about the 3 arches. We got the medial, longitudinal, the lateral, longitudinal, the transverse arch, okay? Get a feel for how that foot's moving. Find out, feel those bones, get those bones moving a little bit. So, some nice things you can do here. I mean, how's that feel, Evan?
That's fine.
That's fine. It feels like I'm cranking on those. To me, it feels like I'm cranking on those, but he's not going to feel like you're cranking on them. Okay. So I mean, unless they're saying that hurts, chances are it won't. Okay. So you can actually play with these toes and push those pretty significantly to do some work on the bottom of the foot. You doing all right? Get a little ticklish or no? Okay. You can do some longitudinal strokes just to warm up. You can do some strokes, just kind of open up that foot a little bit. Okay. Then if I want to start thinking about lengthening that plantar fascia, it's going to start right around the calcaneus, kind of at the base of the calcaneus, and come up to the balls of the feet. Okay. I can even put that on a stretch. Do a little work with my thumbs there, or my knuckles, kind of like this part of my fist. You know, somebody with a flat foot, you're not necessarily going to want to do as much lengthening of that plantar fascia because it's already lengthened. Okay, so you might end up doing like some cross fiber work. So you might do some work where you kind of just get a little bit of tension. You're not cranking it into stretching it, but you can do a little bit of cross fiber work with your knuckles. Might anchor that elbow, so it's a little less strain. Might let that soften into my knuckle a little bit. Feel it. Bring that back and forth, those toes flexing a bit. You know, might make nice to that area a little bit. outside the lateral foot. You can do the same things we've been doing. I'm noticing that that's taking a lot of arm strength to do that there, so I just anchor that right in my hip, that elbow. I sink in. All right, so why don't we stop there and start working. So with someone that's prone, you have really good access to the calves here. You can do some compression strokes on the gastroc. Get a feel for how they feel medial to lateral. Nothing's really jumping out at me. Anything jumping out at you, Evan? No. Okay. Okay. So we can start to use our fists for some nice long strokes. Put a little cream on. Don't let me forget that ring.
Patty might kill you.
So I'm just kind of rotating my body here. So the pressure's coming from right to the left. Okay. I can do some spreading, kind of find that septum. Just spread. Put a little bit of cream right on the head of these gastroc. Remember, they come across the knee joint. So you can do some work getting towards the insertion. Feel all right? Mm-hmm. Do a little work on that tendon that comes up. I'm not going to do this for too long. Drop that leg in a little bit. Get on the outer edge here. Careful, you have the head of the fibula, and just deep to the head of the fibula is the perineal nerve. You don't want to be cranking on that perineal nerve, but you can get into that tendon. And I found something right there. That's not quite the tendon. It's still belly a little bit. I'm gonna stop saying a little bit.
A little bit.
Okay. So if I find that there's some spots I want to work and want to hang out at, I can get into that with my knuckle. Is that a little intense? Is that okay? Fine. Checking in, making sure you're not killing your patient. You can't see their face at this point. So you might say something like, "You're not just saying it's okay, are you?"
Promise it's okay.
Are you using that?
Yeah, I'm using a knuckle there.
Okay.
I can use fist, but again, that's more broad. So I found with my thumbs, I found an area here that was a little tight, and I don't want to use my thumbs forever, so I just switched to my knuckle. Remember, get my body behind that.
Yep.
Okay. So let's say I want to start doing some lengthening on him because this guy needs a little lengthening on those. I can do that two ways. I can have him with the position he's in right here. I can't really get that lengthened. So I can bring his leg out just a little bit so that foot's off the end of the table. And I can do some work like that. Okay, that's about as far as he wants to go. Can't see his face. You doing all right? Mm-hmm. All right. So let's say I find a spot right there and I want to do like a nice relaxed foot here. Nice relax that foot. A little jiggle. Okay. Find that spot, sink in. And then I can dorsiflex that with my knee. Okay. And I'm not finding too much on Evan that really needs a ton of work on his calves. You feeling anything?
Nope.
I mean, just general overall tightness, because he doesn't have a great amount of dorsiflexion, but I'm not sensing anything. You know, so that's the lateral aspect. If I wanted to work on the medial aspect, I could just switch legs and then come to the other hand, dorsiflex there. Okay, so let's say I wanted to work on lengthening that soleus. It's kind of hard to lengthen that soleus when he's straight knee because of that gastroc. So I can just take that gastroc on a stretch, or on loosen that, put that on slack. I can do some work just to kind of soften that up a little bit. See, he's nice and relaxed. That foot's moving. Okay, take that underneath the arm. Put that on a stretch like that. Doing all right?
Mm-hmm.
See how much more that foot moves? See how much more that foot moves into dorsiflexion? So we can tell that that's not his soleus that's stopping that. That's his gastroc. Okay? That gastroc's nice and loose now. I can sink right through that. But I can feel that gap, that soleus, on a stretch. Okay? So if I wanted to, I can kind of find some areas. Let's say I find a little fibrous and tightness right there in that soleus. Kind of anchor and stretch. Hang out in that position. Doing all right?
Getting sleepy, but besides that, I'm fine.
All right. Okay, so in this position, I mean, I can feel that gastroc's nice and soft. I sink in onto that soleus, relax it, and then anchor and stretch. So I wouldn't really hang out and do this on Evan a ton because he need more work on that gastroc. So another way to get into that gastroc, if you want to slide down towards me, Evan, so you're just like 6 inches off the table, perfect. You know, so I can do the same thing I was doing over here, but now it's a little bit straighter of an angle. So I can kind of do one of these longitudinal stroke opposite to the stretch. I can even do a raking stroke. You want to make sure that as you're getting down, you got that wide tendon. You don't want to be doing that over the tendon. That's not going to feel great. So we can even get that tendon moving a little bit. You just relax that. See how that tendon moves. You know, somebody with like an Achilles tendonitis that's not like acutely flared up, you can start to work that a little bit. You know, start to get the sense of how that, because it kind of rides within a tendon. Tendon is sheath. The tendon rides within a sheath there. You know, if you're finding that there's a spot where it's not moving very well, you can kind of get into it. Just kind of work that a little bit. Kind of anchor that down. Work on it. Do some work, kind of seesaw that. Make sure that's moving nicely. Okay, that'll be it for today.